Baby, what's the name?
Homie, where does it connect to?
Taxi, hotel, random planet. Read the script.
Okay, then what happens when I come from the hotel? How about we do a text adventure where choices are out of your control?
Yeah, and the past can influence your future. Oh man, I'll make a branching story out of this. This is the story about how we almost completely ruined the GMTK 2020 game jam.
This year's theme was out of control. Now, it's again a very open-ended theme, and it allows you to do whatever you want. So our first challenge was deciding on an idea. And after smashing our heads against the wall for about an hour or so, we came up with these 4 games. A card game where you can only control the order in which the cards are played, but not when the cards are played or how they are played. Now, I love card games more than the next guy and will basically make them every chance I get. However, coming up with an interesting system and creating a completely new AI for it really seemed too much for us for this jam. A game where you can control the enemies and not the player characters. The idea of controlling your enemies seemed really interesting to us, but we tried to come up with at least a few different things. And in the end, I'm glad we chose something else because we both played a couple of games where exactly that is the concept. A base building game in which you can only control the environment and not the people itself. It's an amazing idea, so amazing that in fact it already exists. It's called Royce. Check it out, play it. You'll enjoy it. A text adventure where you can only control what your character did in the past and not what he will do in the present.
Alright, let's face it, we're both already into the text adventure idea, so I think it'll be a lot of fun. Let's just go with that. I think we can make it really, really good.
Okay, nice. So tomorrow we'll finish the story and on Sunday we'll just polish.
Day 2 started with the second challenge, actually writing the story. We took the morning to talk about some ideas and a rough outline. We had started with 2 words, sci-fi and teleportation. I think it's possible to make anything cool, and especially with those 2 words, we went ahead and did something really cool. We made the coolest story ever. However, this was the first time I was writing a branching story, and I was floored by the amount of possibilities. So I did what any good writer would do. I did not compromise. And instead of giving 2 options at each turn, I decided to give
billions and billions and billions and billions and billions and billions and...
I mean, what the hell? More choices, more fun,
Invasion of
right?
Iraq.
Wrong.
That is absolutely
Wrong.
proved over and over again.
Wrong.
The action.
Now, while Ivan was writing, I got to coding. There already exists a tool for a branching story. It's called Twine. But I thought, don't try to learn any new tools when you only have 48 hours to create something. Which, in principle, is a great idea. But in practice, well, branching stories are pretty complex to keep track of, and learning Twine probably isn't that hard. I am both arrogant and ignorant. So I just went ahead and wrote my own solution.
Nice.
While Simon was wrapping up most of the system, I was missing every deadline I set for myself. I was really struggling with the nonlinear storytelling. I tried to write every choice first, that is, if it branched, I was going to write the next bit for each branch. That was silly, and when I noticed that it was going really slowly, I hit the gas and started zooming through the individual storylines. That is, I followed each branch until the epilogue. That speeding yielded one meager epilogue, and at 11 PM of the second day, that was simply not enough. In the original outline, there were, after all, about 15 of them.
Finally, I had time for some sound design. It's an incredibly difficult process, creating sounds, molding them, making them perfect, making them fit the theme and the environment. It takes a lot of time, work, skill and energy to create something that really fits the mood. Well, I guess we also need a sound effect for text scrolling. No, not that one. Perfect.
I was a bit slow today, but don't worry. I learned my way around the ropes. I'll be much quicker tomorrow. And anyway, I'm really satisfied with what we've done today. So great job.
Me too. There really isn't a lot to do anymore. Let's set our goals for tomorrow.
Yeah, I would say let's aim for finishing the story at around 12 o'clock, and then we can work the rest of the day on the visual presentation. Day 3. I got up, I sat down, and I just started typing away. I was determined to finish it by noon. First, we put a few of the choices into the game just to see how the process was going. That first one was slow, but Simon added some things to make it faster. After that, I hit the goal. I had the story finished, and then I started working on the visuals. I was inspired by this kind of cutout style, you know. I made these small vignettes of the ship flying, the characters engaging, cinematic moments. It looked amazing. And then I woke up from my daydream. It was 1 p.m. and I had maybe half of the story down, so we had no choice but to mercilessly murder any idea about visual presentation.
Okay, time to add some ambient music. I made some spacey sounds, then I mashed them all together to create some background music. I created 2 tracks which then would switch up depending on where you were in the story. I then added some noise on one to make it a little bit more dreamy, and also did the Ben Prunty faster than light trick, adding some big drums on the other track to make it more intense. I guess it sounds a bit rough right now, but it doesn't matter. I'll have enough time to rework them and mix them together. All good.
Back to the story. This time the deadline had to be 5 p.m. We had to transfer everything into the game, which would take a considerable amount of time. I finished it just in time, but the story was way smaller than the original outline. Whatever. It was still a lot of content for 48 hours. There were, after all, 13 or so epilogues. So then we started putting in the content, and by this time my head was melting. There were so many storylines, some looping back into each other, so many branches. I wasn't even sure that each of the story pieces fit together, but there was simply no time to check. We had to connect everything in game and then assign the values for the personality on 4 scales for each choice. And while we were doing that, we realized, oh my god, there is simply no time left, and we started throwing out some storylines just in the hopes of actually making it in time. Somewhere along the line, I split off and did the page for each. It was high time. Simon finished entering the story and assigning the values. And together, we had finally made it. It was done. Not like we imagined, but we had made it. 20 minutes before schedule. Simon wanted to enjoy one last stressless, fun run of the game, like a player would experience, with all the story ahead. He didn't even know some of the storylines. I was at peace.
What the hell? What the hell? One storyline did not trigger and resulted in an empty screen. It was a third of the game and there was no way this could be fixed now. Wrap it up and send it. It is what it is. There was 30 seconds on the clock when we had finally uploaded it. We sat back exhausted. Damn, this was a feels bad, man. But hey, at least we learned a lot in the process and would be better next time.
Hey Simon, the game doesn't play.
We found out the hard way that 7Z files are not the same as zip files. But Mark came in clutch in the overtime. He granted us the upload and our game garnered 19 votes. And that is the story of how we almost completely screwed up on GMTK 2020.